very often when I'm reading novels that have been translated into English from other countries, if there are special terms or, I don't know, Creole or other things that are not that common for translation purposes, you'll find a footnote that will either explain it a little bit. For example, the word Jimbacus, that has a cultural meaning as well as just a literal meaning. So it would have been great having a little bit of something there to tell me what that character means in the local culture. Did you decide not to use any footnotes? Another term I never understood was metropole. I didn't know whether that referred to Bissau or Lisbon. I looked it up on the internet, but I couldn't find any explanation for it.
Yeah, good point, Don. Yeah, metropole is, in this case, Lisbon. I can. Okay. It's a few years since I translated this, and I can remember trying to decide what to do with a word like that. But I did come across it being used in an English context as well. Not, it's not a very common usage, but it was enough for me to leave it. Yeah, I mean, me and Abdulai discussed this and decided not to include one because, or to try a different tactic, and that tactic was to try and make you be able to understand roughly what the word meant without recourse to a note. Now, what is lost there is, like you said, you could probably follow what it meant, but you would like to know more. What's the root of this word, etc. But yeah, we didn't do that. In the Portuguese version of the book, the same words that are in italics in the English book are in italics in the Portuguese book because they are Creole terms. And I think in the copy I had, maybe there was a glossary at the end, but the next copy that I had didn't have one. I can't remember exactly, but we did therefore discussed it, and Abdulai said he didn't like glossaries and preferred not to have an explanation, but if a publisher felt very strongly about it, then fine. And as the publisher didn't feel very strongly about it and nodded out, we decided to leave it. The argument being that you probably, that maybe by having that, you were elevating Criollo to a slightly more exotic or alien plane compared to, let's say, Portuguese, French, or other sort of European languages that might not have had a glossary. So
my only problem was when I tried to look on the internet for what the words meant, I couldn't find them anywhere on the internet.
I mean, this is the trouble. It's well, I think there's two problems with it. For example, my sister who reads some of my translations said, well, it's great, it's a Creole word, but I don't. I thought it was probably a Portuguese word. So that's not clear to some readers. Also, for a reader such as yourself, Don, who does want to know these things, then the information's not there. There's no great way of not drawing attention to it and then not having the answer. I think it feeds into a broader issue, and that's sometimes with a book like this, there's so many layers to it that you could go down an almost academic route of trying to show what the language is doing, be it the Creole, or even, you've got the Portuguese characters. They're quite poor from the Alentejo. Their Portuguese is not very good, or not very proper, let's say, and it's infiltrated with African words as well. So, there's different registers, and it's really quite hard to transfer that without, being quite academic or lots of notes. And in a way, I'm interested in it so much that I hope other people would be. But I suppose I ultimately decided the book needs to read. Most people are not, and hopefully those who are could look it up. Unfortunately, Don, you're quite right.
I understand. So
it's not very easy to find.
Thank you, Jethro.